Yeah, please give me permission to record. Kevin.
And you've got it.
Awesome.
Go ahead and give everybody. It looks like Rhett maybe here as well.
Please give me permission to record.
I don't see him yet, but he's thinking about it. Probably getting coffee, or no, that would be middle of the day. Maybe a snack.
Most likely.
Martin's drinking coffee at 9 p.m. in his time. Good. Nice.
That's just a cup. How do you know what's in there?
That's true. You know, could be just water in a mug. Philip has put up the live stream, so we're just we'll wait one more minute before we get started. And this week we're going to be drafting a new Article 1 and possibly 2 of a new constitution, depending on the group's preference here as to what everybody wants. And we'll, of course, we'll wait for more people to come in before we dive in a little further. Here comes somebody else. Okay. There's Rhett. How you doing? Good to see you, Rhett. You may not be able to hear me right now. There. Okay. All right, so we'll go ahead and start talking about this and get the ball rolling. So Myra's going to put in the chat, we'll have some Chinese translations of the Constitution versions, version 1 and version 2. And what we're looking to do today is we'll probably split off into 2 groups, and then each group will draft their own version of what they think Article 1 of the Constitution should be. And Brian, I'll let you translate.
我们今天是要就 V1 跟 V2 版，然后大家可以进入到那个 breakout room 里面自己去讨论，然后制定第一条宪法的第一条。
Yep. And hey, Dachian, by the way, I just saw you. So what we're looking to do with Article 1 of the Constitution, of course, it is probably the most important article. It's the one that most people will see. It's the first impression. So that Article 1 needs to be whatever is most important to that group.
这个第一条的话，对于整个宪法来说是非常重要的。
And we might even see different preferences in terms of what is important from each group. But also we would like each group to write in whatever wording they feel is most appropriate, what their Article 1 would be.
可能每个组都有自己第一条的偏好，但是我们希望每一个组都可以写下自己比较觉得合适的，第一条应该怎么去拟定。
So the first step will be, once we get into our groups, the first step will be that we read the constitutions together. It's going to be an open discussion for about 10 minutes, talking about which article is most important to the group and trying to come to a consensus on that.
我们第一步是需要去去看整个宪法，然后找出其中一条你们觉得最重要的。
And then once the group has decided on what is the most important topic, they can then drill down and work as a group to write the actual article and how it should be said.
当每个组选定自己觉得某一条是最重要的时候，就可以深入去讨论这一条。
So we'll go ahead and start breaking up the groups. We may have one English only group and one Chinese only group, I believe. I don't think you know any Chinese. No, okay. I don't either. Let's see, so we'll break you guys. And so the main goal for this, and Brian, I'll let you translate this too, but the main goal here is to sort of get a feel for what it's like to understand group thinking in terms of what is important to everybody, and then incorporating everybody's ideas into one article. It's really just a practice session, and hopefully coming out of this, anyone who is wanting to go further and draft extra articles on their own or with a small group on their own can continue to do so.
我们这个会议的宗旨是让每个人就是可以发表自己的言论，然后对于这个条约的价值观的体现。然后如果你们之后希望就是更深入的去讨论，或者是制定新的，根据你们刚刚讨论的这一条去制定新的条约的话，也可以继续去进行。
Okay, so we're going to break out the groups now, and the Chinese group, actually we might have 3 groups total. We're going to do 3 groups.
我们现在马上要去分组，大概会分3组。
Group number 1, hang on, we're still moving everybody around here. Okay, so group number 1 is going to be, actually we're going to put Brian, we're going to put you in with okay, so group number 1 will be the English group, and it should be just Martin, Myra, and Rhett.
Sorry, excuse me. I will definitely want to go to the Mandarin groups.
Okay, so we may have to just have Rhett, you may get left out of the discussion because we may need to have 2 Chinese only groups. We only have myself, Martin, and you, and I know Martin speaks Mandarin, so it may just
But
be...
if don't worry, if necessary, I will sacrifice myself. I can go to the English one for listening.
Okay.
Please, for big purpose.
I have a question. Before the meeting started, we just dropped the translation of V3, which we proposed to the community, because initially we thought we were going to talk about V3 today as well. So I'm just asking, is that open for discussion in the breakout rooms as well?
Yes. In fact,
Yes.
that's a great... Oh, go ahead. Yeah. Yeah, that's a great starting
Brian,
point. Go ahead, Myra. Yeah.
你可以把你自己的中文版也发过去，大家可以依照这个 V1、V2，还有你们 Amsterdam 区的，然后最终呢，目的是出一条咱们想要的。OK， 就是一起讨论，发到群里来。
Yeah, so that's for a lot of folks in the previous work sessions earlier this week, they found it was very useful to be able to use some of the version 3 options. And we can go ahead and post those now in the chat. I know, Rhett, you guys have put one out, Jetse from EOS Amsterdam posted one. And actually, Brian, of course, you're with EOS Amsterdam, so you're very familiar with that version.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
That's the English version that I just, and this is the Chinese version. I worked with Da Qian and the store, so we just had a rough proofreading. So from Article 1 to 12, it's definite. You can just, there's no problem with it. But the article later on, if you have some questions, you can just ask me. We can discuss.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll let you translate that if you want.
第3版呢，我现在已经发在这个群里面了，是壁呼的。然后从第1条到第12条我们已经校对过了，所以你可以放心的去看。12条之后的话，如果有任何问题，可以等一下提出来。
So what we'll do, Rhett, I'll move you in with Brian into the same group, and maybe you guys can do a little translation back and forth, and that way you can partake in the conversation as well.
Yeah, no problem.
2 groups total working together. Cool. So we're going to start the breakout groups now, and you should see a pop-up on your window.
Hi there.
Hello.
So this is going to be Mandarin, and then you translate a little bit for me?
No, it's fine. Just I will most of them be a listener.
Okay.
Do we have a facilitator and a host in the group?
No. Who wants to nominate whom or who wants volunteering to be the facilitator?
Who hasn't been before in the group?
Hi, Luis.
I just joined to
to the first meeting, so for me, I will like to take some notes and get a little bit catch up on the
Okay.
situation before to take any responsibility. But I'm free and open for whatever you guys need.
Sure. So who can be the facilitator?
Brian, you've been in more sessions than the rest of us.
Yeah, I don't mind. Yeah, I just want to give other people like a chance if you want to try. If nobody's gonna do that, I'm also will take notes because later I have to translate that. Yeah, shall we start?
Yes.
Shall we start by shortly introducing each other? Because some of
Sure.
them is the first time I meet each other.
Absolutely.
So Mara, will you start?
Hello, I'm Myra, and I've always been active members in EOS, and I've been this constitution course for 7 weeks already. And I know English, but it's not my mother languages. I cannot give deep thoughts, okay? I cannot give the deep, difficult vocabulary. So I would like today you talk more, and I want to learn more and spread your ideas to the China community. Thank you.
Thanks. Red?
Red Oudkerk-Pol. I co-founded EOS Amsterdam together with Boy Maas and Jetse Sprij. Jetse Sprij is a lawyer and he wrote version 3. And he also made some comments about version 1 and version 2. Version 1 and version 2 of the Constitution were not written by lawyers. So much of his criticism is about that it's not very structured. I am here to listen as well because I wasn't in the alliance calls before. And now that we have version 3 out, I'd like to help everybody to understand why we made this. And also like to thank EOS Store for helping us translate it in Chinese, because I think it's very important that East and West can understand the governance around this important blockchain, the mainnet. Thank you.
Luis? Hello, my name is Luis de la Mata. I'm co-founded also on EOS Mediterranean. Thank you very much for joining join all the community in review this version, and hope we can learn a lot about how to improve it and how to help each other in order to get a very final version that the community is asking for. Thank you. Next one, EOS Detroit.
No, this is just a camera, I think, for streaming us. So, Connie, are you online?
Yeah, I'm online. 我刚刚才就是加入到会议，现在是要自我介绍是吗？
对。
是的。
哦 ，OK， 我用中文吧。那个我是，OK，Thank you。我是 EOS Pacific 的 Connie， 然后在这边是负责运营，就是媒体这一块。然后，今天我看群里面说议题主要是关于那个是有那个苏斗这个的那个关于这块的讨论，对吗
？No， Sudo is the discussion which EOS Lao had mentioned. It was one of our working groups, but the meeting is after.
OK， 哦，也就是说那是分组的会议，然后需要到他那个链接，然后才可以，对吧？
对。
OK，Sorry， 然后那个现在是要谈一下自己对 EOS 治理的一些看法，还是说就是那个？
大概自我介绍一下，然后大家聊。
哦 ，OK， 好的。然后以上就是我的自我介绍。
OK。 Connie's from the EOS Pacific, and she's charging of the media operation for EOS Pacific. And then she just mentioned like the discussion regarding pseudo, and then Myra direct her to another group, which is a working group in the Chinese community that she can join later on. Okay, so I think we have everybody here already introduced themselves, right? 1, 2, 3, yeah. So I think from what Kevin just said, like, should we start off by picking up the most important article in V1 or V2? Because I think it's hard to talk about V3 at this moment now, because I think most of you, have you read about V3 already?
Yeah, actually, I think it's different because since the EOS Amsterdam, the co-founder is here today, because everything is being recording and after we'll take notes, I really would like he start to explain what's the main difference between the version 3 and between 1 and 2, and what he think is the best he add inside. This I'm really interested, and I also think it's a really good opportunity for explain to the community what's the differences.
Yes. Okay.
I think you muted.
I'm muted.
Yeah.
That's basically very simple. Version 1 and version 2 were not drafted by lawyers. And typically what you do with when you write something like this so important is that you define what you want and then you talk with the lawyer to really write down in correct legal terms what you want to achieve. Some things are already in other laws, so you don't have to write down everything. But you have to make a very structured document, a very thorough document. And our founding lawyer has many years of contract law experience, and he wrote down a more balanced constitution, in my opinion. That can work because other constitutions are not 100% clear on certain terms. They are not complete. So there's many, in my opinion, and our lawyer's opinion, there's many things legally wrong with the version 1 and version 2. Our version 3, is more legally correct, and our version is a little bit more like Dan's version 2, than version 1. So it is it is based on what we've learned by reading the governance channel over the last 4 months. To have like there's always a big debate, but we try to write down something that we think can be accepted by everybody. So it is a document that reflects, let's say, the middle of the arguments that we've seen in the channels. So it's legally correct, it's legally complete, and it's the middle ground of the consensus, because as you've seen, there's a lot of people that vote for version 2. So what we made is something that can work, is complete, and is correct.
Thank you. I saw the Chinese version.
Yeah.
And
I think I can add to that. Like also, I think compared to version 1 and version 2, the biggest difference is we picked up a jurisdiction. Because before, like anything, if you violate any of the articles in version 1 and version 2, you basically there's nothing can enforce the article. So in the version 3, we introduced the Dutch law, which is we think that could be the applicable law for the jurisdiction for enforcement of any violation of the articles. So I think that's also very as a major difference comparing to version 1 and version 2.
Yeah, I don't know how to say that in English correct, but that's yeah, that's what something that we added, and in your contracts, in your DAP level, you can always agree on different jurisdictions as well. So it's the base layer constitution. And many people have read it and commented it. It was very popular document last week. As many people gave a reaction. We also processed all the reactions and changed the wording a bit, and also answered all the. So if you go into the Google documents that we've published yesterday, you also see the reactions on the reactions that were given, and the decisions that we made with those reactions, whether we implemented it or whether we just ignored it or used the reactions to improve the wording. So it was not a EOS Amsterdam only. It was it was also community driven.
I see. You know, we are really happy before. I heard about when we're the staff meeting, when your version 3 pump up and everyone have a look and everyone's really happy. And I really like your style to give the merit to the community instead of yourself. And thanks you mentioned about your store helping you translation. So I really believe you're a gentleman. And thank you for your description. I saw the Chinese version is already good. And if I have time, I would like to proofreading at some words, but I will have a look soon. And that's it, really good.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, because I think we don't see on the Google Docs in the Chinese community have some comments. I think it's a pity because some of them don't have access to Google as well. I think that might be one of the reasons because we don't see many comments. But now since the Chinese version is up there, so we can also get some comments from the Chinese community. And then we hope that we can bring those voices to the West and let make it heard as well. Because before we published the version 3 last week, and then this week is an updated version, because we also look at the 10 topics that David sent it to me. So it has also been discussed later on for improvements, the 10 major topics in the Chinese community. Yep. 下面我们另外一个那个 EOS Pacific 你有什么看法？
你看到Connie，你看到中文版的他们的宪法了吗？
第1版还是第2版吗？
第3版，就是我们现在目前讨论的是阿姆斯特丹版本的。
I'm sorry， 我还没有 follow， 因为
我现在发到了小的窗口里。好，没有关系。
好，我现在看一下。
I think
because I already saw the Chinese version have a little bit tiny, just little problems. I think I will tell Brian after.
Yeah, please do.
Let's give some time to Luis.
Luis?
Just for polite, if you have anything would like to say of any opinions.
I think everybody is still sort of in the Chinese national holiday mode. It's the last day. Tomorrow I have to get back to work.
Yeah, you had a long holiday.
7 days.
7 days. Very good.
Is it 7 days, Myra?
Yeah, 7 days, but my personally is working for 7 days because traveling is a bothering thing for me for most of the time. I saw Connie sum up.
哦，厉害厉害，7天都在工作，我出去浪了几天。
我也是都在工作，哎，可怜啊，这边没有放假的时间。
Okay, Brian, 你应该来负责 taking care of the meeting goals instead of 尬聊，我们已经很尬了这一次。
那我们下面
You know?
是聊是选一条去聊吗？还是选一条去聊，还是怎么样？
我们这样就根据规则来吧。貌似 Kevin 说的是 Let's come out one. Now our opinion together to come out one. The number one.
Could anybody like come up with one article that you think that's the most important to Constitution?
You mean Warren 3?
I think in general, right? In general, like the most important article.
In our version 3, I think Article 3 is the most important one.
Mm-hmm.
That talks about freedom.
I see.
But also the ownership article defines what EOS is and how it should be looked at. And there were some questions around it by the community. And I think Jetse answered those questions very well. But yeah, in China, you cannot read these Google comments.
Yeah, and I opened the Google one actually. And actually, because me and Brian have already in this constitution call for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
For example, I have one question. Let's see the ownership number 4 and the 4.3. You say no one shall neither directly nor indirectly or more than 10% of EOS token. Actually, just wonder if I can give comments. Is you didn't say what if someone turn over 10%. I didn't see the consequence of what if someone. It's the same we discussed a lot of times of they have if you do a contract didn't have a consequence. Like say, what if someone own 10% or more 10%? They have a no result of this one. So this is my only concern of number 4.
Yeah, the goal of the Constitution is to define the rules, and if you do something that is not abide the rules, then you can raise an arbitration case, and then the arbiter can decide what's the best way forward, because I think every case can be different, so it needs a specialist to look at the situation and assess whether somebody is violating one of the rules in the contract.
Okay.
If the arbiter determines that is the case, then he can give a ruling, like a judge. He can make a ruling what should happen.
Okay, I see. I pretty much agree with you. Say your favorite one is the freedom, because it's more like a general. It's just like let's say word 1. The first one is no lie. So it's the first. It's all about the principle, some big principles, the fundamental thing. I agree with you. Say your favorite one.
Yeah, of course it's subjective. Also in version 1 and version 2 are identical articles. so they are subjective, but I think it's important to define the goal. So in version 2, it intent of code of law, I think.
There's no, I think in version 2, there's no any human like subjective like connotations comparing to in version 2 they just say you have to based on the intent of code is law.
Yeah.
So it's pretty clear and straightforward. But the version 1 is the initial of violence. But then if you started having those kind of moral connotations, it's hard to predict like why you only say violence or initial violence is violating the law. Why not the other things? So what we in version 3, what we did instead of listing all the things that you are violating, because there are tons of things you can list there. They will never be enough. So it's better to replace this word with good faith. So it's less confusion, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, that is what I said. If in good faith is a typical way to phrase this in lawyer talk, in lawyer language. So that's why I think it's better to phrase it like that, and don't phrase it like it is in version 1, because then you can have this debate.
I can shortly translate that. 因为第一版跟第二版的话，就是它怎么说了，就是用代码来解决它的意图，所以跟第一版比起来的话，第一版里面说了，就是说 initial violence 就是谁起先，怎么说那个 violence 就是暴力啊，实施暴力的话，我们在第3版中认为，如果你说实施暴力这个字眼，其实是非常的不清晰的。你为什么如果只定义暴力为一件不好的事情，而为什么不去列举其他的事情？那证明就是说，除了暴力之外的其他的事情你都可以去做吗？这不违反这个宪法吗？所以在第3版当中，我们直接把这个不清晰的词给改变，就是说 good faith， 只要你善意去行事，就 OK。
Okay, I totally agree with you 100%. I do really think the version 3 is more detailed because 站在巨人的肩膀上嘛。And we have the base, and people continue discuss about the default of number 1 and 2. Standing in the shoulder of the giant. And I really think this one is really detailed.
And Luis, do you have any thoughts on the version 3? Hello? Luis?
Okay. I don't think he's online.
I saw his face, but that maybe he cannot hear us.
Okay. Also, I noticed that version 3 come out the number 12. They mentioned the block producer meeting again. You see?
Number 12, yes.
Number 12, which is none of the version 1 and 2, including this term before. So this meeting is more like, the good point is say, any 5, let's say 12.2, any 5 block producers can call extra meeting. So this one, you mean the top 21 or any block producers in the list?
I think the definition here is paid block producers.
Every block producers, you mean?
Yeah, the paid block producers.
Okay, the paid block, okay.
Yeah. But this is a good point because it's unclear what part of the block producer should be.
Yeah.
I see, because I can register Myra block producer, right? Use Myra example, and I can.
You would get my vote.
Thank you. I could register 5 BPs and I make a extra meeting myself. So I think here should write paid block producers.
Yeah.
On one. This is a really good point because I wonder, before everyone they all have block producer meeting, for which reason they canceled? Because of
the reason was that they found that there wasn't much to discuss anymore. And they wanted to do everything on chain, so everything publicly, and but many of the tools were not there. There's no referendum, so there was no forum. There's many things not available. So, but that was the goal, to have more transparency, and don't use Zoom calls like we did at the launch, but use the on-chain communication.
Okay.
And they also felt that there was not much to discuss.
Me too. I think so.
Yeah.
Seems people just quarreling.
And there's already so much communication all the time with the Telegram channels and WeChat.
Yes.
Luis?
Okay, he told me he cannot listen carefully. He cannot listen clearly. So let us just pass him.
Okay.
And he cannot catch up with this one.
Okay.
So how long we have in the meeting? Like 30 minutes for the breakout room, right?
Yeah, I think we're done. We clear on what the goal was. What's the most important? Everybody feels the same on what's the most important articles.
Yes, and we can start to work on the summaries. And Brian, if you can speak for us.
Yeah. So the summary, I think it will be the start by introducing what the differences between V1 and V2 and V3. So just give the community like a general an idea, like what's happening in V3 and what's the major difference. And then regarding Myra said Article 12 that block producers is not clear the terms. So maybe we can mention that as well, and it's open for discussion. Like if because our goal is to let the community read it and have the same question like what you made on their inspiration, and then we can write it down and then later on gather all the questions and answer them.
Okay.
Yes.
Good.
Shall we go back?
No, I just saw they have 15 minutes left. We can either keep silence, play phone, or we can continue to talk about something else we want to talk about. So I saw. And Brian, do you have a Chinese Bihu or like Chinese platform you can owned by Amsterdam?
Yeah. EOS Amsterdam.
Okay, cool.
I saw the article you sent by Bihu for EOS Alliance. You mentioned our name there. You also put the link of us there. When you put there, I the link as well.
Yeah. Yes, my assistant did it.
Also, okay. So EOS Store and us have another one, the one I just sent it. That's another channel. So we have like one cooperative channel one.
I see. Cool.
Yeah.
I met one of your coworkers in Korea, in Seoul, at the meeting of Block.one.
Yeah, I was not there, but yet Sylvia and Boy were in Seoul.
Yeah. Actually, I give comments, and it's real compliments about your logo. It's really interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really interesting.
Tulip.
The tulip.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
I told Myra I'm coming back to China next week, and I will bring some of our Dutch waffles, just a waffle. And then she said she already tried it before.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
So how you recruit Brian? How did you find him? He did a really great job in Chinese community, I think. It's a shining star.
Thank you. Thank you. We reached out to some international schools in Netherlands, to 2 international schools. And then we got a Korean and Chinese community members in the team. So there's many international schools in the Netherlands, and so we reached out. Very easy.
Cool. Hey, Brian, are you in EOS before he found you, or you
I started together. Yeah, started a couple of months ago now.
I see.
Yeah.
So how is your career community going? It's going
I
good.
haven't finished my university yet. It's my last year of my university, actually. So after I finished, then in February, then I officially graduated from university.
So you're 23?
Yeah, 24.
Okay, cool. Really young. So this time you come to China is to visit someone?
Yeah, to visit the members in the community, and I also will attend the 3 events by Will X in Hangzhou.
Right?
Will you be there as well?
I don't think so. It's just yeah, I don't think Will X have associated with my work.
Okay. But if you're in Shanghai, so maybe we can meet there.
Yeah, so I have to pay your food. It's the Chinese rule. It's my territory.
Hope it's come from the company.
My company don't reimburse for food.
But the one in San Francisco, will you be there as well?
I think about that for this kind of meeting, because if for hackathon, actually, I'm not tech person. Even if I go in there, seems if only for social, it's too much time consuming, cash consuming for the hackathon. If I'm a tech person, I understand. Otherwise, I didn't saw the necessity, because I'm in the community for so long. Before I keep my job is just to go to different events, and I basically know everyone.
And getting a visa to America is hard.
I have it. Okay, I have 10 years already.
Okay. Well, I have to do that this week, I guess.
Cool. So what's your main goal to go to the hackathon? Is to social, like
to meet more people, and yeah, I'm going with my team. I think everybody in the team will go together.
Cool.
Yeah, we don't know exact who is going to be there, but it's for we expect that block producers will organize meetups around the hackathon, like we did in London. So we had 2 days hackathon, then 2 days we organized all kinds of meetings. We had one party also Tuesday night, and then on Wednesday it was Blockchain Live, one big event, and Block.one was the main sponsor. So everything was scheduled in sequence, and I expect that also in San Francisco, other meetings will be there as well. So, and if they're not, then we will host a meetup also to discuss topics that are relevant in the community at that time. Because we did the same in London. It's very, very productive to meet everybody and discuss some topics.
Yes, I'm really happy to saw you being really active now. because last time in Seoul, I remember I was joking to one of your coworker because I actually before I know every blog producer, I studied them. And actually before we don't know what is Amsterdam, EOS Amsterdam. We never heard about it. And from right now, basically it's everywhere. You did really good job. Like we really saw the action.
Yeah, we do our best. But we had to build a team also, so took us a little bit longer to start. But now we're very
It's already
active.
a good, it's already really good start.
Thank you.
Yeah. So next week when we come back, we can also introduce them to our Europe chain. It's a new project. I think it's going to interest a lot of block producers in China.
Okay. Do we need to discuss anything else more, Brian?
No.
I think we can go back to the main page.
Let's go back. But I didn't see the button to go to the main section. Did you saw any button to go to the home page?
Yeah, leave breakout room, maybe.
Yeah, try.
Maybe just leave.
Yeah, I do that also.
Please. Because I didn't saw the button to go there, so I think I will wait a second.
那么就包括我们是否同意代码意图及法律这个大的方向，这个是比较重要的内容。大家觉得可以吗？就是先把这个方向确定下来。
代码意图及法律，这是一个目前来说可能大家比较好去理解的一个吧。我觉着第一条，柚子宪法应该说的是，柚子宪法的目的，首先就是为了保护链上合法财产不受侵犯，这应该是写到第一条里面的。
好。
然后至于合法是什么算合法，什么算不合法，那 BM 给出了一个答案，就是 intent is law， 就是符合代码意图的就是合法的，不符合代码意图的就是不合法的，就可以引入仲裁。然后像一些黑客盗币，它这个东西，合法不合法，可能也在一个讨论中吧。我觉着我理了一下，我想列的我心目中的宪法第一条应该是先去明确一下 EOS 宪法的宗旨，就是为了保护链上的合法财产。然后我们要好好定义一下什么是合法，什么是不合法。第二条应该是定义什么是合法，什么不合法。然后第三条的话就是 EOS 宪法还有一个使命是，还要构建秩序。法律的目的就是要构建秩序，构建秩序它就要约束一些人的行为，像 BP 的行为是需要宪法好好的去约束的。然后这是第三条，前三条我觉得就非常的重要。至于后面的，还有一些就是宪法的修改，这个东西我觉得V1、V2版本里那两条都不错，都是达到10%的一个什么样的条件才能进行修改，我觉得这挺好的。
行，谢谢。大家有没有需要补充的？你们认为宪法的或者说公约的内容的第一条应该是什么？除了刚才顿一说的。有的话大家只管说。
随便说。
没有的话，那个我们的发言人那个 刚才我不知道你记了没有，我也可以在 summary 这里打出来一下，就是可以待会总结的时候可以把我们这个总结大概说一下。OK，All right，Martin，你可以继续。
我们还有
问一个问题吗？
你说。
不好意思，我可以问一个问题吗？就是我们现在 EOS 的治理上，除了说治理需要就是涉及到 EOS 财产之外，还有什么东西是需要治理的？链上的财产，除了链上的财产，还有什么是需要治理的？像投票、像 BP 的一些行为是需要进行治理吗？还有除了 BP 之外，还有什么事情是需要去治理的？就是我们把我们链上能做的事情，我们聚焦到这些事情上去思考这个宪法怎么制定不要想一些什么非暴力啊、什么诚实啊、什么很空洞的一些东西，没办法去执行那些东西，因为链上的治理本来就是一个探索期，我们先把能实行的去约束掉，没办法去执行的，我们就不要先想了，先去慢慢的去探索吧。我现在想。
对。
对，但是我刚刚只是大概记了一下，不是太详细。
行，我马上出来啊。
好。跑去哪？
还有1分钟。
大家可以继续问 Martin， 他是哪来的？他喜欢吃什么
？Martin，就是我刚才听到了一下，好像你说介绍了一下那个阿姆斯特丹那个版本，它主要是在边牧版本的基础上弱化了 BP 的权利，是吧？
对。
明白。应该的，我
然后一个是因为那个 Amsterdam 那个人写的是这个他自己学的是法律，所以我跟他在上海说了几句话，然后他为什么他的是这么复杂？因为他自己是一个学的是法律的，所以这个是你们可能不知道，他叫叶子。
We were on stage, so that was fun, and then after that we had 2 days meeting Block.one users. And I was not in Seoul, so for me it was the first time to finally meet the people behind the Telegram names. So that was a lot of fun to finally meet everybody.
But that was cool.
Yeah.
What was your project you guys did for the hackathon?
We defined very basic. If you see how much your identity and your everything you do is worth marketing wise. So we reversed it and said, okay, you can make money by sharing some of your data. Can be Fitbit data, can be browser history, can be other your salary, and then we had the possibility to say how you wanted to share this information. Do you want to have your salary, the number or a range and stuff like that, and then monetizing it and returning it to the users again, the money that you make.
If someone can pull that off on a consumer level, that should be I would think that'd be a popular DApp.
Yeah. After we presented it, the days following, I saw even some projects that were doing a similar thing. So
yeah. Well, we have the other group has arrived, group 3. So we'll start off with our group 2, or I'm sorry. Yeah, Brian, we'll let you go ahead and summarize. Yeah, you already did a little practice here, but go ahead.
Oh, should I just say what I just said again?
Yeah, just yeah, go ahead. However you'd like to present.
Yeah, okay. So in the group 1, we were discussing the V3, the version, the chatter that was published last week. And then the major differences is that in the charter, this version is first is written by experienced lawyer, and second we clarify some legal terms and give definitions. And the third difference is which also changed the name. Like we don't call that constitution because we have been discussed in the Chinese community too. Constitution is not a good fit for a document like this. And in this, one of the most important thing that this charter made compared to the previous two is we picked the jurisdiction. So because in the version 1 and version 2, there was no jurisdiction has been selected. So anything that if you violate the law is not gonna, cannot be enforced. We also, Myra also mentioned in the new charter, the Article 12, and one of the things saying that the block producer can arrange extra meetings, and then she thinks the block producer has not been defined, has not been clearly defined who are the block producers. Yeah. Okay. Should I translate it in Chinese? Because I think everybody here they speak English from what I see.
Yeah, if you could please. I mean, we have a
short translation. 我们第一组的讨论呢，就是对于公约第3版的简单的概述，就是第3版跟前面2版的最大的区别。最大的区别，第一个是这一版是由一个专业律师写的，然后也是借鉴了第1版跟第2版和社区的很多声音。上周是发的一个草案，然后现在是已经相对来说修订过的一版。因为社区给了很多的建议，然后这一版呢，不同于前面2版的，也是我们选择了一个管辖范围。之前第1版跟第2版是没有这个的。然后第3版对于很多法律的词汇做了比较特殊的定义，可能之前也是第1版跟第2版会比较模糊。然后还有一个问题就是刚才那个 Myra 提到了第12条，12条里面我们说到了节点，但是我们没有对这个节点会议的节点做更深入的解释，所以他觉得这个地方不够清晰。谢谢。
And so, if you had to summarize, I'll share the screen here with your charter. Which would be your Article 1 for what you guys think is the most important from the charter?
Yeah, Kevin, we think it's basically 2. It's the ownership and the freedom article, so it's 3 and 4.
Okay.
Because that defines the spirit of the agreement, the spirit of the charter, of the constitution.
Okay.
在第3版中，我们觉得第3条跟第4条，第3条是关于自由，第4条是关于所有权。我们觉得这2个是可以体现协议当中的精髓。
And are you planning to move them higher? Is there any reason why applicability is first?
Yeah, you should ask our lawyer, but it's structured in a normal way. I've seen a lot of comments on this document, and many of the answers Jetse gave on the comments was that it's a balanced document in the way he made it now. And of course, he also based on feedback from the community, he rephrased a couple of articles. And also now we got some good feedback for one article to improve. So that's it's a living document, as we say. And I think in 1 week more, we'll definitely have a good proposal for version 3.
OK， 刚才 Kevin 问那个 Red， 他说为什么第1条的适用性会放在首当其冲，然后 Red 说这是因为这是一个法律性的文件，基本上是比较权衡的吧，权衡了很多的考量，所以才把这个放到第1个。
Okay. So thank you guys. And by the way, I don't know if you mentioned this, you told this before the other group came out, but you guys renamed it to Charter instead of Constitution. Did you mention that in the Chinese, in Mandarin?
Yeah.
Brian, did you tell that we used charter instead of
this one we use charter, and because the first version 1 and version 2 we use constitution, and I've been in the alliance conferences every week, and I also heard the voice from the east and the west. They're debating on the use of word constitution, because I think it's a misleading word in, regarding a document like this. So we decided to use charter. This is more applicable, we think. Yeah. 我们就刚才 Kevin 问到了，为什么说这一版改名不再叫做宪法，我们改叫做章程，就是因为之前中文社区也对宪法这个词做了有比较大的争议，所以呢，我们觉得说尤其是宪法听起来这个词好像是有点怪怪的，也不太适合这个场景，所以我们现在把这个词也给换掉。Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it, Brian. Yeah, we'll jump over to Martin in the second group. Hear what you guys came up with.
Martin,
Yeah,
can this
no, I'm not going to summarize. Lo Chanqing was our spokesperson. Are you there?
Hello. Yes. 那我用中文讲一下，然后我们这一组的一个讨论的话呢，刚刚大千总结了一下，就是谢谢大千的一个总结。就是我们这个 article 第一版本的一个内容，就是公约公投目的以及宗旨的话呢，它是针对于链上财产不受侵犯，然后它是保护一个链上的一个合法财产，也就是说，在里面呢就提及到符合代码意图即合法，不符合的话就是不合法。那么大方向来说呢，我们需要确定公约宗旨里面呢，除了链上财产治理这个主题之外，制约 BP 的行为，还有一个就是关于这3个版本，就是这3个宪法的版本，然后我们的讨论大概就是，托马斯在前期的话呢，做了大量的一个工作，尤其是对于暴力，然后不说谎这样的一些重要的一些词的一些解释，然后让我们大家能够更加深入的去了解，就是这一个版本的一个出处跟意图。那么 DAM 的一个代码的意图及法律呢，就非常就在极大程度上去方便了 EOS 的一个治理过程。那么大家基本上认同，能够从技术上解决问题的话呢，是最好的。要是在技术上面解决不了的问题呢，就用一些像就是一些技术，就是将来有一个技术的完善的话呢，这将不是一些问题。那么我们要是需要一些人力去介入的一些问题的话呢，再来用一个仲裁机构，这是我们的讨论的一些内容。是不是太长了
？Okay, so for the group 2, 我可以试着，然后大仙可以加以补充。Okay, for the referendum system, what they think is more is helping to solve the problems on chain like damages and loss. But then they also think this should also outline the functionalities and especially what the principles that the BPs should follow. And comparing to the version 1, what they think is version 2 compared to version 1, they think a lot of issues can be solved more technically. And if later on, if you have something that needs human factors to come in, then it will use arbitration. And Da Qian, could you add more from your group?
Well, yeah, I'm sorry, Brian, I wasn't following. I was just providing Lo Chanqing the notes that I just gathered. But I mean, I trust you to do the great job, and actually Lo Chanqing, 你想，我这里有第3点，我觉得也很重要。刚才我们讨论的 version 3，也就是 EOS Amsterdam 和 Brian， 我知道 Brian 这个做了非常大的工作量很大，他一直在帮我们翻译，然后刚刚才提供出来这样子。所以的话，我觉得我们这里特别需要强调的version 3，我们这边有Evie， 他对这个 version 3的看法，我想能帮大家说一下。
然后Evie 就是来自 EOS Store 的话呢，他有讲到，就是这个第3个版本给他的一个最直观的感受，就是说就是这第1条就让他立马 感觉到这个公约要讲什么，就是会虽然说第一版跟第二版的2个版本会比较简洁，然后能够帮助大家的去了解，但是他会觉得第3版本的第1条，他会想要继续读下去，他会觉得这是第3版本跟前面2个版本相比的一个不同。
谢谢。
Okay.
讲完了。
From EOS store, who also happened to help us translating the chat free. And then she said comparing to version 1 and version 2 is quite concise, but version 3, from the first article that she write, applicability, she already feel like it's something very different, and then it's encouraged her to continue reading to find out more of what's going on. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, and then for the second group, if you guys were to sort of summarize the most important, what the article would be for article number 1, did you guys come up with a concise kind of topic or wording that you'd like to share? I know I heard the word arbitration, and that some technical aspects and some arbitration. And we came out a little early with the first group, and they talked a bit about how the version 3 that EOS Amsterdam has put out was just recently translated. And so a lot of folks in the Chinese community are still learning about it and still finding out more. So I know group 2 was looking into that a little bit, was reading into it during their talk. I saw peeked in for a moment. So in general, it sounds like, do you guys agree applicability should be number 1, or which article did you guys kind of think was the most important? And this should be the first one.
第二组的话，就是大概看过第3版的话，觉得哪一条是最重要的？是不是第1条适用性是最重要的？
是你说的自由是最重要的吧？我们组，还是你说的是第3？
我们组是自由跟所有权，然后第二组是哪个最重要的
I see.
Group 2.
Are we talking about group 2 or group 3?
Group 2.
Sorry.
我们组，我讲一下吧，就是我们组的话，大部分就是有提到，就是第3个版本的这一个宪法的话呢，可能就是因为刚出来没有多久，然后大家只是注意到第1条而已，主要是注意到第1条的内容。
I think the host said that but nice is.
Yeah, Martin's group is which one I was referring to. We wound up with 2 groups in total.
Because okay, it was written group 3, so I'm irritated the whole time.
Sorry about that. Yeah.
It's fine. We didn't really we compared all 3 articles and trying to work out what goes more, what is like each person's preferences of the article. So we were not thinking about what would be the most important overall. Didn't go that far.
Okay, I got you. All right. Well, and Brian said earlier, I know it's been a big week in China. You guys have all been on vacation and just starting to ramp back up and get back to work. So we really appreciate you guys showing up. And today's exercise was designed to have you guys sort of work together and figure out a way to come to consensus in a small group and then try and produce something together as a small group. And that way we can get proposals from folks from small groups. Just sort of an exercise to have you go out and hopefully take some of your friends or folks who are like-minded in the Constitution, and you guys can start to draft your own. EOS Amsterdam has done a great job already. They have an awesome
on that note, the EOS Amsterdam document, I think it's really great to have it as an open Google document, because then people can afterwards really make notes and have a discussion on the sideline, and it can be adjusted. It's really good about like working also afterwards when we start like writing our own drafts, that afterwards we can revisit the documents, what we did, and other groups that were not on the calls can continue discussing there. So it will be something that for every draft that we're doing, that we agree on having like each draft in 3 languages as an open Google Doc, and that it kind of monitored where the discussion goes besides the calls. I think that would be helpful.
I completely agree. It's a great suggestion. We've even heard having an official translation a professional translation done so that it's, the intent gets across.
We also have the Korean version available. Maybe next meeting I can share in the group, so Myra can share in the Korean community, so we can have a read. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
but will the translations also be open documents? I think in Chinese there is something similar to Google Docs where people can make notes and it can be edited by everyone.
Yeah, we should use that one. This is
now it's in Hebrew.
Yeah. Yeah.
No. 我觉得他说的是石墨文档的中文版的石墨文档。
And this week we've heard a lot of references to the proposal from Amsterdam. Rhett called it a living document earlier where anybody can go in and edit. So maybe this coming week we focus more on analyzing that. And actually the Korean community put out a full constitution proposal as well. And it's still under draft. It's not ready to be translated, last I've heard.
Yeah, but it's good to work with drafts. I think it's really productive to have drafts open there, and then I find one article that goes that works for me, and then I just add something there. And I mean, I think it's really helpful. Have it all open, you know.
我们等一下会把那个公约的中文和韩语的版本放成一个文档，大家都可以去编辑或者去留言。因为我们在国外用的那个谷歌分享的，可能大家在国内没有练，可能上不了，所以我们可能会选择用刚刚 Myra 所说的方法。
Yeah, I think it's good to reach consensus with everybody in meetings like this, but we definitely need professionals to really finalize documents like that. These documents are very important to the community. It's the basis of our chain, and it needs to be written or reviewed by specialists. And iterations like we do now with our document, very helpful, but don't have it written by tech persons or me. I mean, I'm a security entrepreneur and a blockchain entrepreneur, but I don't have knowledge on legal stuff as to the level that Jetse has. So I think it's very important to have specialists write a document like this.
Yeah, I agree. The consensus we can reach on the direction, but the wording should be done by professionals. Yeah. And I mean, in the previous calls we had Chen Wang. He was also really, really helpful. Just like taking it apart, what's really left, because basically this is like really the foundation of where we want to go, and it should be living up to our standards.
Yeah, and Jetse, who wrote version 3, he's been in the channels for since launch, so we really tried to write one proposal that could be accepted by the community. There's no point in writing something that is completely different. What we wrote down is in our opinion, could be the consensus of everybody. And of course it needs iterations, but I think it already has a high value and high quality.
Yeah, and thank you for coming in and joining this week. I'll go ahead, Brian. I'll let you translate. Yeah.
So 刚才 Rhett 跟那个 Martin 我们也说到了，这个会议当中很重要，我们有共同的目标可以达成，大家可以在一起讨论。但很重要一点就是我们可以把这些东西有一种文件的方式写下来，然后比较有专业的人士去审核，因为这个是很重要的一份文件。然后刚刚 Rhett 也说了，他对治理这一块没有太大的了解，所以他觉得有专业人士去审核是非常重要的一个步骤。Thanks.
Perfect. Yeah. So yeah, thank you, Brian and Rhett, for joining as well, because we have seen a lot of conversation about the version 3. Really, these exercises were about getting people thinking about the wording, but mostly about capturing the intent of what the community generally wants. We do need professionals. I agree personally, but I think many folks I've heard also agree that we need professionals drafting the actual wording. And then when it comes to the intent, we just want to get that from the community themselves. So thank you very much for coming in.
Yeah, also the spreadsheet is awesome, I wanted to say. Not just the charter. Also, I think the spreadsheet is a really nice thing to have them like all next to each other, and maybe later when we have drafts, we can also put them together if we find the articles that are kind of covering the similar topic. But that's future music, I guess.
That's another good idea. Yeah, I definitely agree with that too. Okay, so the main question I'll ask now, and then we'll get off in about 5 minutes or so. Would you like to review the version 3 proposals and help revise them during the call next week? Would you like that to be the primary topic of discussion? And you get in the chat, you can just put yes or no if you agree or disagree. I'll put the question in the chat too. And just take 30 seconds.
Okay.
All right, we see a lot of yeses, and also the Korean draft, says Martin. But everybody says yes. Perfect. All right, and then last question for you guys. We've heard some good suggestions already in terms of how to get better. What else? Any other suggestions for improvement? We're always open to, of course, this is for everybody to hear too. We've seen such great proposals from Amsterdam, so if they hear a good suggestion, they may be able to implement it in their own proposal. Any suggestions for improvement onto how this process is done, or to something you'd like to see different in a version 3 draft? And Brian, if I could ask you to translate that, please.
大家对于这个第3版接下来要讨论的话，有没有什么建议啊？就是形式有什么建议？
第3版我有一个建议，就是我们要理清一个思路，就是我们之前可能制定了好几版的宪法，但是那是之前基于一种设想去制定的宪法。宪法的目的是什么？宪法的目的是作为一个治理的一个依据。那治理的问题是，我们治理是要治理什么呢？就是治理有争议的地方。那有时候我们之前的设想可能是不是那么很合理的。那现在柚子已经跑了有几个月了，那根据我们现实情况的问题出发，那这样我们是不是更加有聚焦点？就是我们现在有争议的地方只有几点呢？我总结了一下，一点是链上财产的一个问题，就是盗币丢币，然后 DAPP 的漏洞，这是一个问题需要我们去治理的。还有一个就是 BP 行为的一个治理。然后这2个应该是比较突出的2个问题。那我们的宪法的制定是不是就应该从这现实当中的2个问题出发，从这个2个问题出发去制定法律？那这样的话，这个法律才是真正切实可行的。然后至于其他的一些细枝末节，我们可以再去探讨。就是我一个看法。
Okay. So what he said is before the version 1 and the version 2 was published based on the initial idea, but the EOS has been running on the chain for a couple of months. So now I think he thinks it's more important that we discuss the constitution based on the 2 major disputes that has been arised in the community. The first one is on-chain assets, such as lost or stolen assets, that has to be discussed, and how we can regulate in the upcoming constitution to avoid such thing happening. And the other thing that he thinks is very important is how to regulate BP. What are the functionalities, what the do's and don'ts regarding BP's power? Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to add to this. One other thing is like how to enforce any constitution. That's also in every call so far.
然后 Martin 也说了，就是还有一个就是怎么样去执行也是很重要的。The summary and stuff. Yeah.
You're saying if there is a draft from the Chinese community, you can translate it and just send it over for the Western community? Okay. Yeah, that'd be great. mean, you're
就是我那个不是你那个我已经把那个10个就是我们关心的核心问题发在那个聊天里面了。
对，已经在国外的社区中发过去，他们看了，我们也看了。
Okay. So Kevin, you saw the last link. This is really important. Is China the 10 working groups which established by ourselves, and you can have a look. And if possible, we already did the translation of the topic and who did the groups. If possible, we can use our estimate our medium, send it out.
Yeah, perfect. That's great. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, we'll send it out, and that way, I mean, it's so folks who are not familiar here, like Rhett, for example, the Chinese community now has 10 working groups listed in that spreadsheet that David just linked. And the groups
already had it. He had it as well.
What's that?
We shared it in the group.
Yep. It's it's up there in the chat if you want to take a look at it. See all the different groups. And we are going to move to wrap this up. We've heard a lot of great suggestions today. And next week, we'll look more into just revising proposals that we currently have. And in the process of revising, perhaps someone will become inspired and maybe they'll want to change a few things or possibly even write a few of their own articles. And then this will be an ongoing living process, not just a document. And then we'll see if we can merge them all together in the coming weeks. So we have some work to do, but it's starting to get exciting now. This is the fun part. So thank you guys. Any final words from anyone?
No.
Thanks again for joining. Really appreciate it for coming on after the vacation, guys. So have a good night.
Okay, have a good night. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.